Okay, so let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. That really weird modern feeling of being totally and completely stuck, where you're bored out of your mind, but also just buzzing with anxiety. You're wired. I mean, have you ever felt that? You are just bone tired, but you can't fall asleep? You desperately want to chill out, but your mind is just racing a mile a minute. You feel like you should be doing something, anything really, but you have absolutely zero motivation to do it. It's this incredibly frustrating paradox of being antsy and apathetic all at once. If any of that sounds familiar, here's the most important thing to hear right now. This is not your fault. It's not a personal failing. You're not lazy, you're not broken. That feeling is actually a message. It's a signal from both your brain and your body that something deeper is out of whack. So, for this explainer, we're going to be detectives. We're going to peel back the layers of this feeling, one by one. We'll start with what to even call it, then dig into its ancient biological roots, and go all the way down to some of life's biggest, scariest questions. First things first, you can't solve a mystery without knowing what you're looking for. So let's give this feeling a name. Is it just, being bored, or is it something more serious, like depression? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. The term that often fits this feeling like a glove is ennui. And ennui isn't your garden variety boredom, like waiting in line at the DMV. No, it's this deeper, profound weariness. It's a kind of restless apathy that creeps in when life feels monotonous and lacks real meaning or excitement. And this right here shows the really critical difference. See, ennui is often temporary. It's situational. You get a new job, you pick up a new hobby, you get some excitement in your life, and it can start to fade. Depression, on the other hand, is a much more serious clinical condition. It's a pervasive, long-lasting state of sadness and hopelessness that doesn't just disappear with a change of scenery. Making that distinction is absolutely crucial. All right, let's peel back the next layer. That wired part of the feeling, the constant buzz of anxiety, that's not just in your head. It is deeply, deeply rooted in your body's ancient survival system. So think about it this way. Our fight or flight response was built for, short-term, very real threats, like a saber-toothed tiger jumping out of the bushes. But here's the problem. Our nervous system literally cannot tell the difference between that tiger and a stressful work deadline or a constant barrage of notifications. Our modern tigers are chronic. They're relentless. So your anxiety isn't some kind of defect. It's just an ancient system that's completely overwhelmed by a modern world that never, ever shuts off. And when that alarm is always on, the result is living in what's called sympathetic overdrive. I mean, just look at this list. Does any of it sound familiar? Feeling exhausted even when you get a full night's sleep? That constant tension in your neck and shoulders? A general free-floating anxiety? Or being irritable and snapping at the smallest things? Yeah, that's the physical price we pay for being constantly on. Okay, time to peel back one more layer. And this one goes deep. Because this feeling isn't just biological or psychological. It plugs directly into some of the biggest, most fundamental questions about what it means to be human. The existential philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre had this powerful, kind of terrifying idea. He said we are condemned to be free. What he meant was, in a world without a pre-written script for our lives, we have total freedom to choose our path. But that freedom comes with the crushing heavy weight of being responsible for every single one of those choices. And that burden alone can be a massive source of anxiety. Building on that, the psychiatrist Irvin Yalom pointed out what he called the four givens of existence. Basically, the unavoidable truths we all have to grapple with. The fact that we will die, the burden of our own freedom, our deep, fundamental isolation from other people, and the huge question of finding meaning in a universe that might not have any. Just wrestling with these ideas can absolutely fuel that feeling of being restless and stuck. So, let's recap. You've got a nervous system that's stuck in high gear, and you've got the weight of these massive existential questions. When you put those together, what you get is a whole lot of pain. And what do we humans do when we're in pain? We desperately look for an off switch. And this is just a game-changing perspective from Dr. Gabor Mate. He basically says we're asking the wrong question. Instead of asking why the addiction, we should be asking why the pain. He argues that addiction isn't some moral weakness. It's an attempt, a tragic attempt maybe, to solve the problem of unbearable emotional pain. And the data here it's just staggering. It shows how this pain often starts very early in life. The research on adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, found a direct, powerful link between childhood trauma and high-risk numbing behaviors as adults. The more pain you start with, the more desperately you might search for an escape. And let's be clear, numbing out is way, way bigger than just drugs and alcohol. As this addiction tree shows, that search for an off switch can look like a million different things. It can be perfectionism, being addicted to work, codependent relationships, or even being addicted to the feeling of worry itself. Okay, I know that was a lot. We've dug really deep into the problem. So now we get to the most important part. What can we actually do about it? How do we find the brake pedal for a system that feels like it's stuck on go? This is one of the fastest, most direct ways to hit that brake pedal. It's called box breathing, and it's a way to manually switch on your body's relaxation response, the parasympathetic nervous system. Just breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, and pausing for 4. It sends this powerful signal to your brain that says, hey, you're safe. Now, when anxiety has you totally stuck in your head, spiraling about the past or the future, this technique is like an anchor. It yanks you right back into the present moment. By forcing your brain to focus on your senses, you're basically telling it, look, right here, right now, in this moment, everything is okay. And look, there are so many other tools in the toolbox. Things like mindful movement, even just a slow walk, can help your body complete the stress cycle. Activating your vagus nerve by humming or singing can send calming signals to your brain. And of course, simple things like getting outside in nature or setting real boundaries with your phone can reduce the number of those modern tigers you have to face every day. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that this feeling, this bored, wired, anxious, stuck feeling, it isn't something to just power through. It's a signal, a really important one. It's your mind and body screaming at you that it's time to find the brake pedal, to reconnect with what actually matters to you, and to choose a different response. The only question left is, now that you can hear it, what will you do?